Hello, everybody. It's your old friend Gary Lucas. And yes, I got a new tripod. The assembly was almost beyond my capability, but I managed. So we're more or less set up in a more stable way, so I can play for you without fear that the thing will topple over in the middle of the take and ruin it. So we're live on Facebook now. Carolyn and I just came back from seeing The Apprentice. I urge you to go see this movie before Donald Trump gets an injunction against showing it. It hasn't really clicked, I would say, with the general public. There are very few people at the screening that we went to today over there in the East Village. But it's quite a good film with superb performances, I have to say, by Sebastian Stan, hitherto unknown to me. And I guess he's been in the Marvel multiverse films. So he's a really good actor, and he captures all of Trump's tics and mannerisms. And then the great Jeremy Strong, who was so great on Succession. He really was the light, I think, along with Brian Cox. Oh, they were all good on that. I kind of really was into that series. He's superb as Roy Cohn, and I'm kind of I wouldn't say a Roy Cohn junkie, but let's say I paid attention to this dark character for many a year. I thought Al Pacino did a magnificent job in the televised version of Angels in America playing Roy Cohn. And I've seen documentaries, and I tell you, I recently discovered Roy Cohn and Gore Vidal being interviewed by William F. Buckley on YouTube, which you have to see. You wouldn't believe it. So, what am I going to play? Well, I got the Dan Electro cranked up here. And one little pedal and a looper. So I'm going to start with a little song, an epic song that I wrote with Jeff Buckley, which has never officially seen the light of day. Although it's been recorded by, Israeli pop star Nina Tayeb, who I worked with several years ago. She came to Paris, where I met her doing a Jeff Buckley tribute at the Hard Rock in Paris. And then she came with her brother to New York. And I went into Philip Glass's studio, Looking Glass Studio in the East Village, and recorded a guide track for her. And I believe it's come out, or she's put it out. For sure it's on YouTube, versions of it, as are some of my live versions. And this was an epic as far as a long song that we did with structured parts that has specific movements. So I'm going to do the guitar instrumental version, and it's entitled No One Must Find You Here. really, really good rehearsal yesterday with a new lineup of Gods and Monsters. I want to announce an upcoming gig. January 6th, it's the Insurrection, Resurrection, the return of Gary Lucas and Gods and Monsters with a new lineup featuring my bass stalwart, Ernie Brooks, who's been in there with me pretty much steadily since '96, I think he first played with us. He's holding down the rock-solid bass, Ernie from legendary Modern Lovers and Arthur Russell. And then one of the best drummers in the world, in my estimation, the one and only Calvin Weston, who came all the way from Philadelphia for this first rehearsal yesterday, and it was like combustible. The Atomic Energy Commission would probably sanction these sounds that we were making over there at Rivington Music Studios on the Lower East Side, where I like to rehearse these days. And anyway, I can't wait to play with these guys again, maybe next week, if all goes well. Because this thing is really, this is hot, and I'm totally into it. I've had Gods and Monsters in one form or another pretty much since 1989. That was our first show at the Welcome Back to Brooklyn Festival out there under the Prospect Park Bandshell. If you go to YouTube, you can actually see a clip from that show. We rehearsed at another legend, the late great Giorgio Gomelski's studio on 24th Street, the Red Door, as it was known. Also, for a while, it was a club called Paddles, apparently an S&M joint. I never visited there. But Giorgio said, well, I got to tape this. It's going to be historic. So we went to pick him up in a van. Me, Tony Thundersmith on drums, two bass players, Jared Michael Nickerson and Paul Nowinski, and myself. And we got there at the appointed time at noon to get out there to play at 4 o'clock in Prospect Park Bandshell. And we rang the bell, and he finally appeared in a very disheveled state, I have to say, and said, okay, I'll be ready in a second. So he waited, and then he joined us. He got us back park, and Georgie said, oh my God, I've left my tripod there. He brought the camera, but no tripod. So that's the last of him. We're not going to get this thing documented. But somebody else was covering it, you know, and in their version of the opening notes of our set, you see us start to play, and then a taxi appears in the frame, and Giorgio comes frantically running out of the cab with his tripod and his camera, sets it up very hurriedly, and then he filmed the rest of the set. So I'd never seen it for years, you know. I just figured he has the documentation, and he was busy at the end of his life putting a lot of his documentation up or codifying it, you know, arranging to have it given to the artist he documented. So he called me in there one day, and he said, okay, this was done on, I think it was 1-inch tape on a Portapack. I'm not sure about the format, but he said, I had to bake it. This is what you do with decaying tape, or tape where the oxide particles are flaking off. You can put it in an oven, apparently, as a remedy at a certain temperature. It'll help preserve the tape from disintegrating fully. So he said, I had it baked. He was a little baked. I was, you know, very happy to be there. And he filmed me for an interview, too, about, you know, this and that at that time. And then he presented me with a transfer of the contents of the tape on a DVD-R, which I transferred some years ago to YouTube. So check that out, because I would say it was a rather great opening first set for this group. But I predict that the one coming up at the City Winery Loft at City Winery, January 6th, 1 year anniversary. Was it 1 year, 2 years? Who can recall? But of the famous insurrection, that's when we're going to play. It's a Monday night, and it's early at 7 p.m. But I tell you, we're going to blow the roof off the sucker, as they say. And anyway, go see The Apprentice while it's still available, to see if they don't get an injunction against it. It's quite a good film. And that's all for now. Thank you for coming to my apartment. And I will join Caroline next in the room to see what's on the old flat screen. All right. Everybody, peace out, over and out. See you soon. Bye.